Hi, I'm Dr. Frank A. Thomas with another installment of Preaching as Celebration. It's exciting to me to share with you an insight today to give you a tool to evaluate your own preaching. I think it's very helpful to do a self-evaluation. I know that we look for others to evaluate our preaching, but I always start my classes with each preacher doing their own self-evaluation. And you know what I find? Many times, as they evaluate themselves and find areas that they need to improve in, that when I hear their preaching, I have the same areas. So evaluation of your preaching is just a wonderful. So I designed a tool. It's called the Wheel of Preaching, and it is divided into the pieces that make for an effective sermon. So for example, you can evaluate yourself in sermon preparation. How is your sermon preparation? How do you prepare? How do you feel about it? How effective is it? Then the delivery of the sermon. How comfortable and how good do you feel about your delivery? You can evaluate yourself in sermon delivery. Then there's sermon exegesis. How deeply do you research and dig into the background of the text? And how do you feel about that? And how good do you think you are at that piece? Then it's very important to have imagery in the sermon. How is your imagery? People often get a hold of a sermon based upon the imagery of the sermon. So I have you evaluate your imagery. Then, how long is the sermon? Evaluate sermon time. Some of us are very good at time. Some of us are very bad at time. So how would you evaluate yourself relative to the time of the sermon? Then the structure of the sermon. How is the sermon organized? Is there a nice flow? Does it make sense? Are you easy to follow? You evaluate the structure. Then creativity. Are you creative in the sermon? Are you a creative preacher, or are you saying what everybody else has been saying and you only say it again? You get to evaluate yourself. And then finally, the sermon close. How is your close? How are you on the close of the sermon? These are essential elements of preaching to me, and I think if you're honest about these and evaluate yourself, just honestly, just tell the truth. Nobody will see it but you. Then you will have some indicators as to what you might need to improve upon. And then in the form, you can get this wheel in the description section. You can go down and you can download it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go download it. It has a whole process. It'll explain how to fill the wheel out. It'll tell you what to do. You'll be able to evaluate. It'll tell you how to set some goals to improve in these areas. And they're important: sermon preparation, sermon delivery, sermon exegesis, sermon imagery, the time of the sermon, the structure of the sermon, the creativity of the sermon, and the close of the sermon. And if you give attention to these things and improve these things, you will be a high-quality preacher, I assure you. God bless you, and thank you for listening, and please do download this in the description section. It's free, don't cost you anything. Just download it. It's my gift to you. You can have it because it's going to help you. God bless you. Please remember that every Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we do a Periscope call on preaching. Please also remember we upload to SoundCloud, a spiritual vitamin, once a week. Please also don't forget that every Monday, we upload another version of this series, Preaching a Celebration, and Friday, we upload a version of Living Your Passion. That's exciting. This stuff is exciting. I'm just excited to offer it to you. And so now, thank you for listening. Please continue to pray for me, and I'll pray for you. This preaching task is difficult. Let's pray for each other. And share this information with your friends. I just would be so honored if you'd share it. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I'll see you next week.